All right, we can just go whenever, right?
Yeah, whenever.
Cool. Well, hey everyone. My name is Jesus Burguaba. You can call me JR. I'm the founder and CEO of Social Market, and I'm here with my partner Leon Hitchens, and we are Social Ledger Report.
Yeah, and this is the first episode, so I think we're gonna feel our way through this, but I'm pretty excited for this. It's part of the Boost Network. We've got a few other shows, and I like that we're gonna be talking crypto because well, when we talk crypto, JR, like it's just memes for us, and that's the best part of it.
Yeah, I mean, uh, I have a coding background, and I did AI research, and just a little bit of context. I could have gone into AI, but I think, personally, AI, crypto just has a lot of the, you know, appeal for it to be fun, but at the same time technical, where, a lot of things happen every week and it's kind of entertaining. I mean, of course, there's a lot of problems with the ecosystem, like con artists and you name it. But, I still think, what we're doing with social market is something to the extent of influencing what's to come in the future for the space. So all that to say,
Yeah.
it's still a great space to be in.
Yeah, and crypto is like it's like the wild wild west.
Yep.
It it's figuring things out. It's like, when Yahoo was Yahoo and, Tumblr was around, like everything felt like you could, accidentally steal stuff. Or not just steal stuff, but you could get your stuff stolen
Right.
online if you didn't know like the right URL, like, scams were rampant. There was just so many things. That's kind of the crypto
Yep.
world. It's not until like regulation comes in, which is it's starting to, and everything kind of like settles down, and big companies are all involved. Like, the big one now is like Coinbase, and you've got Kraken and crypto.com. Like they're buying actual arena names. Like
Yeah.
that's like kind of like proving this out as a big thing. And I think there's still some utilities to be figured out, but that's also part of what we're doing, figuring out the best way to like make these like digital currency like actual utilities, because they do have like real world purposes. It's just, how does that play in, and how do you make it like actually usable for the normal consumer? But those are fun things. But we've got some
Yeah.
fun things to actually talk about. Like, I'm kind of
Yep.
excited about this first one. This and I'm gonna
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
mispronounce it totally. It's the the Glebe.
Oh, it's Ghibli. So
Ghibli, there we
funny
go.
enough,
I won't get
we,
it
we
right.
oh no, you're good. So funny enough, there's a reason why we're talking about Ghibli. I mean, aside from it being the talking point of the entire week, first of all, Social Ledger reports for now going to be a weekly report where we talk about the week's, biggest trends for crypto. Now, why am I talking about AI? AI here, you know, everything popped up on Twitter. So here's my personal or X, if you guys want to call it Twitter or X. You
No,
know,
no, we're calling it
if
Twitter.
you, sorry, what was that?
We're calling it Twitter.
Yeah, good point. So on Twitter, if you unless you were living under a rock or you use Facebook, you would have seen all these different, kind of memes that we've known for a long time, probably since the beginning of the internet. Just be Ghibli-fied. And if you ask me, I think this is a great way to express our, thoughts, our humor, and, you know, it's just taken the entire internet ablaze.
It really has though. Like the White House tweeted it out as a meme. Like
Dude,
everybody has done it. Like,
yep,
what is kind of interesting about it too is that the like the big brands hopped on it quicker. Like it used to be memes would take like, it'd come on Twitter and everything would happen, and then you turn around like uh 2 3 weeks ago. I think it was, oh, there it is.
this is so bad, bro.
It really is, but also like the fact that the White House just like jumped on it is kind of
Yeah,
like, it just encapsulates like them going on Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, everything. It's kind of astonishing to see it, but
yep,
this is like the one of the most viral things that happened in, I would say, 4 to 48 hours. I have not
yeah,
seen a meme or a video or anything go this viral this quickly. Like it kind of feels like everything's accelerating because everyone's got it at their fingertips. Like before, like one
Yep.
meme was one meme. Like JD Vance, was the butt of a great joke for everyone through AI, but this was the
Yep.
first one that was just kind of like fun. It wasn't really
Yep.
hurting anybody.
Now, if you ask me about AI, I get excited still, but I mean, it won't get me near as excited as crypto. But um, I think this is generative AI for what we've seen has been a really powerful way to entertain and to improve the way we communicate because, you know, we had emojis and we had GIFs or GIFs, if you whatever you call it. We had that kind
Gifts.
of media to express ourselves, to talk to one another, to humor ourselves. And now we have AI to kind of make anything you want. Well, at least with ChatGPT, it does have some guidelines like, hey, I cannot use this brand, I cannot use this logo. And funny enough, I'm not sure if I've been playing with it all week. Funny enough, I want to say maybe at the beginning when this update came out, I think on Tuesday, it's when you could kind of generate almost anything, but now it seems like, hey, I want to generate this Red Bull can or whatever. It'll say, "Oh, I'm sorry, but this is a brand that, us generating a brand logo would go against our policies." But I'm like, wait, I literally got something generated of, you know, a Nike or some other brand. So that makes no sense. My only theory is they probably rolled out an update, a soft update or something under the table just because of all the scrutiny or rather all the allegations or I don't know,
Well, I saw that the
backfire, I guess.
studio
Yep.
sent a cease and desist to like that one app that was just about like every image gets like Ghibli-fied like automatically.
Yep.
It was that TJ Littlejohn on Twitter. Like people were saying the letter was fake and everything, but I could imagine this studio, especially just being, based in Japan, and Japan's got some pretty like not strict rules, but like they're culturally like if you want like real anime or any of that, it's got to be
Mhm.
made in Japan and it's there. So I can imagine that the like OpenAI turned around and was like, "Oh, hey, like we're kind of making everybody mad." So
Yep.
they probably pulled back a little bit, man, but man, I mean,
Right.
everybody jumped on it.
Yeah,
It
you actually bring
it
a
was
good
amazing.
point. Sorry, not to cut you off, but actually, part of the reason why I'm talking about this is because, we're kind of trying to uncover a lot of the biggest buzz happening in the tech space. So yeah, I mean, to your point, the creator of the Ghibli studio, he actually sued for, I think it's a cease and desist here. It doesn't go too much into it, I believe, but sent some form of, you know, legal document saying, hey, you got to pull down what you're doing. And this was to an app called Ghibli-fied, which it was trying to be like, a mobile app, I believe, where you could submit a file and it'll Ghibli-fied for you. And I think it was trying to make money off of it. So it's a clear IP infringement. So I think, it, I'm Miyazaki is the name of the founder here, who I think he's in the right. Is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so there's actually like I guess like legal precedents for that in the past, I believe, and I'd have to look it up a little bit, but there's like the Andy Warhol style of like art.
Yep.
There was like a brand that or like an artist or somebody used that Andy Warhol style, and like the Andy Warhol estate sued for like, hey, stylistically he he like invented that pop art modern style in a very particular way, and kind of said like, hey, when you do very particular things with his art or use his art in some ways, you could do it. But like the part though here is art is like everyone steals art. Like it
Yeah.
there's never an original to it. Like everyone steals
Mhm.
and iterates on it. But this
Yep.
this one, the difference is it is actually just like copy and paste of that same style. Like
Yep.
I wonder if other like videos will pop up, like if they've got any claims. I'm really interested, and I'm not a lawyer. I just want to see what happens because everyone's talked about AI on the writing side, but the art side really hasn't been talked about too much. So this is going to be the first real conversation about art and AI and who owns the copyrights to a stylistic thing. Like most of the time you can't copyright that, but also maybe you should be able to do it when AI could just like stamp, copy, print.
Yeah, I think, as we evolve, I mean, something that maybe a lot of people don't realize is United States government and as a nation, it's still a pretty young nation. And I mean, with that account, humanity is still pretty, fresh, in the grand scheme of history of the world. So we're still kind of figuring out things as we go. If you ask me, with that said, I think we have yet to come up with any sort of litigation, any sort of guidelines or set of laws that can protect both, artists and consumers and businesses as far as using AI generated content because it was just 2022 when ChatGPT came out and kind of just pushed this golden age of AI use, or rather, as the YC, the current person who's at the top of YC, Gary Tan, he says that it is the golden age of building. Separate topic, but AI has influenced a lot of what we do online now. Maybe within this administration or possibly the next is when we might start to see some sort of, you know, set of laws that can at least enforce when it's okay to do AI generated content and when it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like all the copyright laws are old. Like
Right.
everything was, like there is no precedence for what we're doing in the modern age. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't part of me is like, an artist should be protected, but also this is helping them. Like most people didn't know who they are. I bet you there's going to be a large swath of increase of people looking at anime as like a ability to watch it, and then there's going to just be like a wave of support for them, I think, in a way that they don't quite know yet. But also
Yep.
I could see that there's probably going to be a hit to their market because people are probably going to try to spin off and do their stylistic video style in new animes, and they're going to have to go sue for that.
Yeah, I agree. So, you know, there's still one more topic here that I want to cover. And, this kind of all goes back to my first point where we talk about AI and we're like, hey, we're actually talking about crypto. Well, first of all, Ghibli has been a pretty big thing right now. So in the crypto space, and I'm actually looking this up as we're talking because I totally forgot to pull it out. So moving on to another new topic. So we were first talking about Ghibli, but there's a reason why. And we kind of intersect here with crypto and AI. But if you've been in the crypto space, you'll realize that in the last maybe year or so, a meme comes up and it suddenly becomes a token. So if you are not aware, which let me help you here, a Ghibli token came out and it's called Ghibli or Ghiblification. And I believe it came out maybe over this last week or so. It's really new. I think it's Solana based. Yeah, it's Solana based. So the price right now of it is just 2 cents. And a lot of that is because people will follow any trend. So, what do you think about that, Leon?
Yeah, I like one. I like really interesting. It ends up on the Solana network. Like that's almost
Yeah.
always the what it's based on. Is it on that chain or is it on the
Yep.
based one?
So I don't know if it'll let me zoom in here, but the contract right here on the far left, it says, it's based on Solana. The wallets you can get it on, it's on Phantom Wallet, on Backpack, and
There's a
Soulflare.
few Ghiblification tokens. That's
That's
why.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you were
So
talking about that, and I was like, but it's okay. So the main one, which is man, there's like five of them. That's the problem.
yeah, so
But
so here's the biggest problem also with the crypto space is there's a lot of fraud. People are just trying to capitalize on moments, on trends. So, I mean, always be careful, always do your due diligence. To answer your question, I think it's just under the the five, I think it's 6 letters, GHIBLI. So that's the token name, and I believe every token name has its own almost unique name. So
Yeah.
this is interesting. And you asked why is it always on Solana? Well, actually, that's because Solana is well, there's several applications on Solana. There is Pump.fun, there is Jupiter, there is those other applications like Phantom Wallet. There's all these different kind of applications where you can kind of create tokens. The biggest one is called Pump.fun, and people must have already know about it. If you're watching this, there's a good chance you already know about the crypto space. So Pump.fun is where a lot of meme tokens are initially born. So this contract, you can always trace it back on the network scanner or the blockchain scanner, and you should be able to find where it originated. But I say that because I don't think I can find here on CoinMarketCap where I can find where it originated. Okay, yeah,
Mm.
no, you know what? It's a Pump.fun ecosystem, so I do apologize. So it was created on Pump.fun. Yeah, I mean, this is just the trend that happens.
Yeah, it's a shit coin in the end, and I
It's a
think,
shitcoin for sure.
some people are gonna make money, but also it's gonna, like, people are gonna put money in and lose money, and
Yep.
that's really the interesting one to it. Like, Pump.fun also has a lot of coins that just are stupid.
Right.
I don't know if it's good for the crypto space, but also it's good for Solana generally, just because then there's volume on that network.
For
And
sure.
that has always been the problem with Solana, especially on Coinbase. I think that's more of a Coinbase problem, where Solana just is overcrowded on that part of Coinbase.
Yeah, so I mean, you totally bring a good point. I think any network, I mean, people who are building blockchains, they're effectively building financial systems or the neo financial system. And I mean, any network that has a lot of volume or a lot of money moving around, it's good for them. So I think they're going to find a way to get as much volume as they can, which is, Solana didn't come up with Pump.fun, but they're not against it either. So, you can kind of connect the dots there. I mean, not to put on your tinfoil cap or anything, but yeah. So
Yes.
this is kind of what I wanted to talk about Ghibli. My final point for today would be going back more on OpenAI. So Sam Altman is actually, in case you guys don't know, OpenAI doesn't just do AI for the most part. It also has its own token. It's called WorldCoin. So, WorldCoin, I feel like it's not as trendy as maybe Ghibli, or hasn't been trending for a while. I think it first came out like in 2022, 2021 period. But
It's
if you
kind of
don't know,
scary though.
yeah, so for those of you who don't know what WorldCoin is, it basically is a token, or it's a crypto token. Not exactly entirely sure on what network it's built on. I think it's built on ERC-20, but basically something that happened a couple of years ago is they went to third world countries and they were giving them world tokens or world coins by scanning their retinas or their eyes.
Yeah. Like, it's a weird system. Like, what they want to do is create like an like anonymous index of humans in the age of like
Yes.
AI. So they have the world chain, and then there's the world app, and then there's world ID, and
Yep.
it's supposed to be like identity, finance, and I think they say community or something. I don't quite understand like what their end goal is. Like, it seems very dystopian with what
Yes.
they're messaging, but that is a it is an interesting one because they did go to these third world countries and were like, hey, scan it, and I believe they gave them some of the coin right there and then.
They did. So they gave him a wallet, a digital wallet with some tokens. Right now, I'll pull out the price for you of WorldCoin right now, but so this headline, it talks about how Visa is in talks right now with Sam Altman from OpenAI about maybe creating some sort of, payment network system, or maybe, being part of a network array of other tokens as well, because I believe USDC is already among Visa with MasterCard and, on cards because, MetaMask came out with a card, and Coinbase has its own Visa card. So you can make a lot of those payments with USDC. So now we're starting to see that happen maybe with WorldCoin. So, this is just digital currency being used in the more real world for all kinds of purchases.
It's still like the stablecoin stuff really interests me because in the world of the like today's world status, like the US dollar, like suppose like a lot of people want to
Yep.
deflate the US dollar, bring it down. Like it's interesting that it's all pegged to, like currencies in the real world, whereas, you know, that is becoming the mainstream trend is linked to a stable coin and use that, wrap it in it, use it in some capacity, but then also you've got these other ones that are the price is kind of arbitrary in many ways. It's proof of stake, it's proof of work. Like
Yep.
there's a lot of changes to it. I'm not sure if I really believe like the stable coin is the future 100%. I think it is, but
Yep.
the part that I the whole gap that I find is like it's betting on the United States. It's betting on these currencies staying very stable and worth a lot. If the dollar tanks, like it could tank everything. I was just
For
looking
sure.
at that chart. Like
Oh,
I was kind
nice.
of interested what happened. Why did it go from almost a dollar? I think it was like 97, 98 cents
Um,
to like 85.
you bring a good point. So its all-time price was right about $11.69, which is a great number. Now it's almost less than a dollar. So it's like a little bit less than a dollar. So, I mean, the market fluctuates. I believe this token came out in 20, well, I think its first listing is in 2023, which I think it actually came out in 2022. But I digress. Yeah, so I actually agree with what you said. Stable coins are not the only thing that are going to be part of the future. I mean, Bitcoin is already becoming a world reserve currency and it's not a stable coin. So to me, in the very least, that tells me non-stable coins are going to be adopted to some capacity in the future. We just need to have builders like you and me build this, future with our current app, in use case being social market. So, if you don't
Yeah,
know what social market is, go to socialmarket.tech.
I love it. I love it. I wonder if there's going to be at some point like a stable coin pegged to like Bitcoin or something.
There's always a possibility. I think there's people who are trying to do that. Bitcoin is open source as is, so people have the ability to do anything they want with it.
Yeah, because Bitcoin is, like a digital gold or store of value.
Yep.
If you build a stable coin and peg it against the price of Bitcoin, obviously you've got to have the reserve for that. But
Yep.
that would be a really interesting model because I think, again, like fiat collateralized stable coins like USDA, they're backed by off-chain reserves. Like if something happens to the USD currency, like it could destabilize that set of crypto. Same thing with that
Yep.
new euro backed stablecoin. I forget what it's called.
URC.
Okay, URC. Like it's going to be collateralized by euro,
Oh
and
shit.
what happens if something happens there and it's destabilized?
Sorry. My Roomba just went off. So do you hear
No,
it in
no,
my
it's good. No, I don't.
Okay, awesome. I'm like, bro, seriously?
It was like we need to clean the AI heard you.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, all right, I'm gonna come against you. Dude, that is such good timing though. That's hilarious. Um, Great. Hey, so, actually, that's pretty much everything that I wanted to talk to you about, Leon, today. So, at our first pilot episode here of SLR, do you have any other thoughts or so that you want to share?
No, no other thoughts. Like, if you guys like this episode, you can find the show on YouTube. It's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can look at the archives of it when we have archives of it on the boost.fm. I think it's slash the social ledger with little dashes between every word. So we should
Well,
probably get like a cool URL for that to redirect to that.
yeah, absolutely. We'll probably do that. Editor, please do. All right.
Exactly.
But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Appreciate you.
All right.